So, have you ever got an offer at a top company, your number one choice, big name, great title, but then you saw the salary and then your heart just dropped? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we turn that flat offer into a 30% compensation increase. And stick around because I've created a free checklist with exact scripts that we used to help her get this result so that you can do the same. Coming right up. That's exactly what happened to my client D. And she got this offer from this top leading pharma company. But the salary, it was exactly as what she was already earning. So no scope there for improvement, no excitement. It was okay. And it didn't look like this was going to be a step forward for her. So, unfortunately, this happens frequently, particularly in competitive industries like pharmaceuticals, IT, consulting, and HR knows the compa ratio really well. So, when they make the offers, sometimes it's as lean as possible. But my client D did not accept that. All right. So let's rewind a little bit. Okay. So D had done everything correct. She was heading quality for a top company and executive leadership role. She'd been with this company for 10 years and she delivered. She had a great team, great results, and very deeply respected. Okay. Then came the reorg, this reorganization. Hmm. The role shifted from leading this giant team to becoming an individual contributor. It's not just the fact that it was an individual contributor, it's also the fact that she couldn't see a real path for growth. She didn't have a voice anymore and seat at the table like she used to. All of that was gone. So obviously her motivation was down in the dumps, right? So she did what most of us do. She applied for more roles. She looked at all the job boards. She increased the number of applications, right? I remember she told me during our game plan call, she said I was refreshing LinkedIn like five times a day, but it felt completely out of my control. So if you've ever been there, you know what this is. Okay. So you're not just frustrated, but you're tired of the frustration. Oh my gosh, that's way worse. So that's where D was. And in that moment, she was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Right. And random LinkedIn search came upon my profile and she was like, "Ah, I think it's time. I get the help I need." And that's when we decided to get started. And we started with the very fundamentals inside my program, the SuperCharge career system. Okay. This is what we did. So we began her transformation step by step in these exact 4 steps. The first thing is we worked on her entire branding and reputation. So this was important because we had to make sure she was showing up as the strategic executive leader that she was and not as the individual contributor. So the most recent role you've had, especially if there has been a reorganization or a change, you have to remember that that no longer defines you. It's what you've done for the bulk of the time, that you've done more often and you become an expert at. That defines you. That took time to rewire into her brain because there is a recency bias. We tend to focus more on something recent as opposed to 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. Okay. And with this knowledge and extracting her top strengths and looking into those stories, we reworked her resume and LinkedIn. So she was showing up and matching how top tier companies scan and shortlist candidates. She'd never done this before. Remember, her previous role, she'd been there for 10 years. So this is a skill. And if you're out of practice with the skill, it's going to be rusty. It's normal. So we did this together. Third is we built her network pipeline because this was to ensure that she wasn't dependent on job boards anymore because that's a much more reactive measure. We were looking at it much more proactively, right? And this was looking at her list, top 5, top 10. By the way, the company that ultimately offered her was in the top 3. So we looked at this list, who are the people we know there, outlining, mapping, all of that. And the fourth thing is we did real time interview prep, coaching, mock interviews, etc. So she could lead conversations, not just passively answer questions. There's a difference. Okay. And magic, it worked. It's not magic, right? It's prep and it's strategy. She got noticed within, I would say, within 3 months. She got noticed. This was work. It doesn't happen overnight. I'm making it sound simple, but when you put it and you repeat and you stay consistent and you are persistent, you don't give up. That's exactly what happens. She got noticed, she got interviews, and eventually this fantastic opportunity came up with this leading pharma company. I wish that were the end of the story. That wouldn't make much of a story. So this is where our problems arise. The offer comes in, like I said, great title, fantastic brand, considering where she was. This was, I would say, a pretty good brand. And very well known company with very well known work culture reputation. But when she looked at the numbers and she looked at the salary, it was flat. So I'm not going to say it was a bad salary, but it was flat. And I don't know how, but these HR team knew and they gave her exactly what she was making before, considering they hadn't even known what she was making before, but that's what they ended up offering her. So there was no sign on bonus. There was no sort of multiplier at a later stage. There was no step forward. This is what it is, take it or leave it. And this is where I think most people will say, wow, hey, D, it's a great opportunity. I don't think you should rock the boat. I think you should take it. And this is exactly what D did not do because she had me on her side. So we were more prepared. Okay, that's important because preparation, when you're prepared and you meet opportunity, you're like, whoa, hello, I'm ready, right? And I'm going to share with you exactly what we did to feel prepared in that moment. And I'm going to get tactical here because I think that's where a lot of the detail is. And quite a few people skip that, skip over that. Number one is we didn't negotiate over email. I remember the very first day she was actually upset because this had been going on for several weeks and she was exhausted. And by the time the offer came, she's like, wow, really? You know, that's it? And I was like, okay, take a step back. Literally told her to stay away from the phone and the laptop, digital detox for a couple of hours, walk on grass. We need to settle and not think too much about it. Then came back a bit more calm, a bit more sort of grounded, I would say. Then we decided the best thing will be to ask for a phone call. And we got the phone call and we had something that I call a high trust phone script. And step by step, this is what that script looked like. We opened with gratitude, with excitement. Then we framed her value case, why she was worth more. She went into it. The third, we also backed it up with evidence and showed how the value has been added, the details, without being combative, without confrontation, without looking like she was being defensive about it. Okay. And lastly, with all of this, and more importantly, the delivery, not that the content is alone is enough, it is important, but it's not enough. The delivery of her message. With all of this, it became easy for the company to say yes. Within within 48 hours, there was more back and forth in that period of time. But what ended up happening, she got a 30% uplift, a sign on bonus, very attractive, 5 figures in euros, sign on bonus, and a healthy bonus multiplier for year 2 and year 3, which ended up being that her ROI inside my program, she got a 6.5, I remember still, 6.5x return on investment from the program. Whereas earlier it would have been good, but it would have been flat. And that's not what we wanted, right? Why? That's not why you want to work with a coach. And I remember her saying, now I finally feel in control because this was the first time she'd ever negotiated. And now she's like, I know this is not going to be the last time. I know I can do this again and again anytime I need to. And I'm so proud of her for that, because it is uncomfortable to negotiate, because you will listen to many people and you will listen to the voice in your head that says, yeah, but you should be grateful. You're lucky to have in this market. What? Just take it. Why do you want to make it difficult for them? You don't make it difficult, right? The thing is, if you're interviewing or you're thinking about some kind of change in your role, you don't want to wait till the offer to figure this out, because it's too stressful in that period of time. So I have created a free guide called the Executive Offer Maximizer. And it's this one page checklist with what to say, some questions you can ask, and my exact email and phone templates that can help, particularly with counter offers. I'm going to share this in the description. Definitely take a look. And I'm going to end with saying, you don't have to be accept, just say okay. You don't have to accept that. You can be grateful for the offer and still ask for more. So it's not and or, it's not but. You can be grateful and ambitious at the same time. I don't believe that it has to be one or the other. Okay? This is not about being greedy, just so we're clear. This is about being strategic. Okay? And download that checklist, put it into action. And if you want to go deeper and if you feel ready, book a strategy call with me. I want that the next role you do pays you for the leader you are. Okay, thank you so much for watching.